we move on to some halachos. I have to say, I'll be honest. You know, when I sat down to look through the halachos for the shir, my mind, okay, we know there's the basic counting halachos, which we've been discussing here already. You know, what time? I forgot. I didn't. Suffolk, okay. And then there's the basic, what are the halachos? You know, no shaving, no haircuts. It's a little bit dry. I'll be honest, it's a little bit dry. But then I picked up Hagoyin Gadol or Felder over here. It's fabulous Sefer Shir Halacha based on his Shirim. And he brought out such beautiful gems. Beautiful gems. So hopefully within the beautiful gems, we'll try to also cover the basics. But sometimes, something a little more. So we'll start as follows. Sefiras HaOmer, and I'm really going in his order over here. Sefiras HaOmer is a big shaylo. Is it deraisa? Is it derabanan? L'maisa we paskin it's derabanan. Now anyone here who says l'shem yichud before Sefira, you're smacked with a problem. L'kayim mitzvahs asay. Kayim mitzvahs asay. How you mekayim mitzvahs asay if we paskin that it's a derabanan? So firstly, of course, there's the classical l'shem yichud. Should he say? Should he not say? D'nai de Yehuda. Okay, we're not getting involved in that. Everyone does according to their minhag. But for Hector of Yaakov Kamenetsky, he says, we paskin it's a derabanan. How can you say lekayim mitzvahs asay of Sefira? So guess what? Comes along Rav Elyashiv, and he says, don't say those words. You open up Rav Elyashiv's siddur, as we always say, he had the proverbial whiteout. He took it out. I'm assuming there's probably siddur imprinted as such. Comes along Rav Shlomo Zalman, Kedarkai, and he said, no. You can continue saying it. How can you continue saying it? The classical, what's the teretz? No? So similar to Lois Sasur, similar. He says a little bit of a different wording. He says, even on Mrs. Derabanan, you could say, L'kayim mitzvahs asay, even on Derabanan. But okay, just, an interesting tidbit when it comes to the L'shem Yichud before Sefira. Now, this is an incredible one. You make early Shabbos, okay? Why do you make early Shabbos? Because you love Shabbos so much, so you make early Shabbos. Why else do you make early Shabbos? Because your wife loves Shabbos so much. And why else do you make early Shabbos? Because sitting down to Friday night Suda at 10 o'clock is just not for you nor your wife. It's certainly not for the kids. Give Aldik, you make early Shabbos. What time do you make early Shabbos? So, okay, we know there's the plag route, and then there's the random 7 o'clock route. The stira route, we're not sure what happened over there. Okay, it happened. What? But Shabbos itself, the Shmur still says it's a stira. Shmur says it's better on Shabbos because at the end of the day, you're makabel Shabbos. But he still screams and yells and says that even for Shabbos, it's incorrect to make Shabbos at a time of day that's a stira. And therefore, right, it's not so, everyone gets, a little bit emotional. And everyone gets, blah, blah, blah. It's not so complicated. If you daven mincha early, the whole thing goes out the window. Because if you daven, if you can get back to shul. But if you daven mincha early, or Moshe said daven b'yichid, that's okay. Let's not get involved in that. But you daven mincha early, which we all know. And every Erev Shabbos is supposed to be davening mincha early. Anyways, Friday is so long, you shouldn't have any problem getting there for Shabbos. Somehow, that's just the way it is. Fine. So that's Erev Shabbos. So let's say you daven plag. Plag today is 6:36. Shkia is 8:07. So you daven mincha at 6:15. Wonderful. Kabbalah Shabbos. Ma'ariv, what time do you finish? 7:15. 7:30. It's well before Shkia. It's not Shkia. It's light outside. You and your grandeur, without thinking, knock out Sefira. You just do it. You're not thinking it's Shabbos. Like you said, you're Makabel Shabbos. Okay, you messed up. And then what happens when one mistake happens? What happens next? You don't count later. You don't count the next day. Motzei Shabbos, you wake up. Oh my gosh. Last night I forgot to count Sefira. Oh no, I counted. During the day. After Plag. What in the world is the halacha? So if you were to go through the classical Mishnah Berurah, which I think is the answer that most of us would say, it's the daytime. It's the daytime. If right now, what? Even the fact that it's Shabbos, we all know, even though we know. Oh, wait. If you go through the Mishnah Berurah, we'll get there. There maybe will be a Shita. But if you go through the Mishnah Berurah, what you'll be found with is, I'm sorry, there's nothing to talk about. And he says that Lamaisa, you shouldn't do it, and you can't, nothing to talk about. So Felder over here says, but based on the Yisai that Rabbi Katzman just said, we all know that whenever there's any level of suffix in Sfira, based on the fact that Machlekes Rishayim, then you could be Mekel. He says the Shulchan Aruch Harav that says, what happens on a cloudy day? And he thought it was nighttime, and it wasn't. Says the Shulchan Aruch Harav, count again without a bracha. Shulchan Aruch Harav is chayshish that after plag, at some level, it's nighttime. And therefore, he wants to say, Paskins Rabbi Felder over here beautifully, that if on a Friday night you mess up, you would not lose your bracha. Very, very, I just found it very interesting that potentially you could get into Shabbos. Okay, let's go into things a little bit more relevant, okay? Tonight, when are you davening Ma'ariv? I don't know, 10 o'clock at night. When are you eating supper? I don't know, let's just make the case real. 8:30. How do you let eat supper at 8:30? You have a mitzvah deraisa, mitzvah derabanan. You have to count sfira, you have to daven. So how you let it eat? Mishnah Berurah writes, a half hour before the counting, you're not allowed to eat. Just like half hour before Menorah, you're not allowed to eat. At this point, people are wondering, 1 second. Menorah, I'm supposed to light at 5:30. I come home from work from 7:30. So how am I eating from 5:30 to 7:30? It's a very good question. It's the exact same question. And the Mishnah Berurah seems to write that you're not allowed to. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Chatzi Shah Koitem Azman Asur. It's an Isser. It's not like, no, Rabbi, I'm not holding there, It's an Isser. You might not be holding at Isurim. That's a different problem. But it says it's Asur. It says it's Asur. So what's the Eitzah? Just to bring out an Eitzah, this is an Eitzah one, is to set an alarm. And this is actually where the Mishnah Berurah says it. Oh, we'll get there in a moment. That's it. It's the same thing. Why are you allowed to go to shul? Why don't you have to have an earlier? So either because you have a mini kavua, or because you have something reminding you to go to shul. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. And therefore, this is just where the Mishnah Berurah says it. He says that if the shamish is going to call you to count sfira, then you're allowed to eat beforehand. And that lamaisa is the halacha. Now, this is where people get a little bit, make a mistake sometimes. We're not going to be meirich right now, but sometimes you'll see a person at like 9 o'clock and they're like, oh, I have to count sfira. Middle of like nowhere. Pulls out a sitter, he counts sfira. And you ask him, did you daven meirich yet? And he says, no, I'm davening at 10 o'clock. So why did he count sfira? No, what do you mean? It's a mitzvah. So he has a very, very long discussion over here. But at the end of the day is, sfira goes with davening. And therefore, sfira goes with davening. But what happens? This is a good one. You show up late to Ma'ariv. Okay? This happens. Let's just be honest. And they're in the middle of Shemona Esrei. So, okay, I'll chop Shemona Esrei with them and do brachas afterwards. Okay, great. What do you do about sfira? Do you do sfira with them? Or do you do Shemona Esrei? Now you have to do Berachas Kriya Shema. Berachas Kriya Shema, and then sfira. What you do, because you're losing sfira with the minyan. Sfira. 100% is a thing. Very, very big thing. Very, very big thing. So which one should you do? Which one should you do? So the answer to this is that we just have to be practical for a moment, okay? If I were to tell you your Berachos Kriya Shema comes first, and therefore you should Ma'ariv, Kriya Shema, do sfira afterwards, what's going to happen? Yeah, you're going to forget. We all know what's going to happen. Right. You're just going to be confused. Yeah, I can do it. So based on that, amongst the machlekes that, like we said over here, it's a big machlekes paiskim. Which one comes first? Ma'ariv versus Sfira b'tzibur versus the other. So he's a makel to allow you to do Sfira, and it's a big kula. It's a big kula, because if anyone ever says, no, you have to say your Berachos Kriya Shema first, which in Sugya would actually make more sense, you're going to forget to count Sfira. Similarly with Aleinu. It's a similar thing. Depending on the shul, Aleinu comes first, Aleinu comes after. Your Shemona Esrei went longer. Okay, so your Aleinu should be with your Shemona Esrei. Great, so they're doing Sfira. You finish Shemona Esrei, so you want to dive into Aleinu, and I'll do Sfira after. And the next night, you remembered about your Sfira after in Kol Tov. And therefore, there comes that point that we just got to be, from the nods, I see we've all been there and done that. We just got a point that, what? Yeah, exactly. Do Sefira, please do not forget it. Now, back to Shabbos. This is a very common shayla. Very common shayla. You're Makabel Shabbos early. After you Makabel Shabbos early, you realize, I didn't do Sefira last night. So, as Ramesha taught us before, Kabbalah Shabbos is a Metzias. So much so, he wanted to be Mekel. You want it to be Mekel like, who is it? Who is it? Marxia, I think. Which is the Shita that says down? Mishabur quotes that by Shabbos it can be Mekel. I think it's a Marxia maybe. Could be I'm making a mistake. I don't remember. That Shabbos is a Chavsa. So much so, you could have the Mincha and Ma'ariv in the same block of time because Shabbos. But now what do? You forgot to count Sefira the night before. So, no, what's the Psak Halacha? What's the suffix? You Makabel Shabbos. How's it a suffix?
According to some, it's not really Shabbos, meaning you might have taken on the full demon of nighttime.
So Ramesha has a more fancy lumdus over here. Says Ramesha Feinstein, and this is something that you gotta know about some interesting black. We would call this a shikol black market Torah about Shabbos. You know, Yana Bacher that forgot to put on tefillin and meet Shabbos early. We spoke about that guy. Yeah, interesting. Why you're being Makabel Shabbos early before you put on tefillin? Interesting. But what do you say? What do you say? Oh, we got no. So what's halacha?
It's fine, but like
You're remembering there was a whole shach and a taz, and a lot of people yelling and screaming about Kabbalah, not Kabbalah. There it's fine. Good. You bring a raya? It shouldn't be fine by Sefira. There it's fine. Why? Because it's Metzias. It's Metzias. So therefore here it should which way be? Maybe also fine. Good. There's lots of rayas. The Maisha comes from Maisha says your Kabbalah's Shabbos was a toyus. You made a mistake. The biggest raya, you made a mistake. You've got to count Sefira last night. You don't want to count me Makabel Shabbos. But comes along around Moshe and he says, 1 second. Whoa, wait. What if you daven Ma'ariv? You're going to say it's a toyus now? Make your ganze Ma'ariv, all those brachas, into brachas of Atala? Says there Moshe, what do we do now? Says there Moshe, hems and haws a little bit, and he says his maskana is, even in this scenario, count without a bracha, but it will save you for the next night. Fascinating, Ramesha. There is certain similar things about forgetting to be mafresh challah. We could undo your Kabbalah Shabbos, believe it or not. What is Kabbalah Shabbos? What does it mean, Kabbalah Shabbos? It's a neder. Well, no, what does it mean? It's a neder. Could you undo a neder? Yeah, why not? I can do any neder in the world. So, I made a neder to be Kabbalah Shabbos, and I decided, oh shoot, I want to go drive somewhere. Okay. So if you find a Pesach, like every neder, mamish. So there is such a zach to undo your Kabbalah Shabbos, to undo a Frashas Chavis. Okay. L'maisa, this happens. This will really happen. We have to know what to do, because what happens is, if you don't know what to do, you end up saying, okay, I'll ask. You forget to ask, you forget to count. And also, that's not a cloud. Maybe we'll announce this later. Anytime you're not sure what to do, just say it. It doesn't hurt. Say today, say this Sefira. Excuse me. Say it, and Amir Hashem. So anyways, Ramesha's Mekel. Okay. But Ramesha's Mekel. Okay, those are accounting halachas. Those are the basics. I think those are a bunch of Gishmak halachas that hopefully will help us going further. Just one thing which we're not going to talk about, just it's something for everyone to think about. When everyone here becomes a Rav, and then you become a Rebbe, so you're sitting there in your grand Rebbe Shul with 5,000 Chasidim, and it's Leil Lag Ba'omer, and you finish the Shem Yichud, and you're about to make the bracha as Rebbe Mamish, B'fnei Am Ve'eda, B'kol, the Zam Maimid, and you realize, last night you were flying back from Switzerland, and you missed Sefira. But you're the Rebbe. There's 5,000 people waiting for you. What are you going to do now? What are you going to do? You'll be like, oh, I forgot. They're waiting for you. You can daven until tomorrow. They're waiting for you. What do you do? What do you shvei kind? Oh, that's not bisyonis. 1 second, someone please come make the bracha for me.
You're saying make my brother out. Yeah, you're sounding my survey.
Okay, maybe. Lemaisa, when everyone here becomes Rebbe, this is one of those. It's not so simple. It's not so simple. It's not so simple. You're saying it's not so simple. It's only when you have a chiv on yourself. It's not when you. Lemaisa, when everyone becomes a Rebbe and a Rashka Bahag, this is Torah you need to know. If you ever show up to shul and the Rebbe asks you to say Sefira, don't ask why. Weiter. I'm not getting into the Shevet Levi is Meirich on this. Obviously, the Shevet Levi, you need a Rebbe to write about this. You know what I'm saying? You have to ask the Rebbes. There are kulas, like there are interesting kulas. The Shaila is, can one actually be semach on the interesting kulas? But either way, I just thought the Elam would like the Shaila to think about as you're probing for the next Rebbe position. Keep in mind what comes together with the job. So now, let's get involved in a Shaila that's going to happen this year. Lag BaOmer is Sunday. So when do you shave? When do you take a haircut? So, very good Erev Shabbos. What if you can't do it Erev Shabbos? You can do it Thursday night. Us Jews, we're never happy. We get a finger, and you grab the Rav's ganze hand. The Shaila is like, can you get a haircut before Shabbos? And there the Paiskim schwitz, and the Paiskim come along, and they say that it's covered Shabbos, so you could get it on Friday. And then, so you tell the Mispalel, yeah, you could get a haircut on Friday. So Rav, can we shave Thursday night? What? I don't understand. I told you could shave on Friday. What about Thursday night? So the answer is shave on Friday. That's the answer. Now, if you could create a reason, as the Paiskim say, where it's Ev Shar. Remember, Shabbos is about 8 o'clock. Friday is very, very long. If you could create a situation where it's impossible to shave and get your haircut on Friday, then perhaps there is a kula to shave on Thursday night. But it's not. It's a mistake. People. It's a cool. It's not. It's really only. What do you mean? No. Yes. No. Kavod Shabbos is not emotional. Kavod Shabbos is real.
Every Friday during the Sphere.
No. Because the kavod of Shabbos it comes from the lack of zilzal. If you go and you shave right after Shabbos, you're saying to Shabbos, I don't care about you. So good. Wait. Very good. Good. Well, so what's I saying? Based on what you just said, can you be machmir? Everyone wants to know. If it's a zilzal to Shabbos, I'm standing there Friday morning, and I want to know what's saying. Slow. 1 second. You're sitting there on Friday morning. What is the right thing to do? On one hand, you have zilzal Shabbos versus Sefiras HaOmer. Which one wins? So the Paiskim say zilzal Shabbos wins, and you should shave and take a haircut on Friday. However, the question is, in a similar vein, am I allowed to be machmir? Am I allowed to say I want to wait till Sunday? So he quotes over here a Maril. It's a Maril and a Marivail that they argue in the etzem words of the Ramah why the Ramah on top side the Gimel of Beis is Mekel. The Ramah says you're mutar on Friday Kavod Shabbos. They argue, and Lemaiser Felder Paskins over here. If one wants to, he's allowed to be machmir and wait till Sunday. But it's ki'ilu a chumrah because the pashtus is it should be done for Shabbos, but you're allowed to wait to Sunday. Now, l'maisa stam, if you have a chasana, it's not a gear right now because everyone's holding Sefira right now. We say Motzi Shabbos is a different shmuz. It comes out ironic that Friday is better than Motzi Shabbos. Okay, looks like it. Lag BaOmer is a free pass for almost everyone, aside for the Hasidim. L'maisa Avida Arizal, Sfardim also, Hasidim and Sfardim get together in this one. Sfardim, Arizal, Hasidim, they don't do anything in Lag BaOmer. Nothing. They hold the whole Sefira, both halves. Okay, we're running out of time. Let's just bring down a few more short halachos. If you're going to chasna, it's not negeh now, but it might be negeh at the end of Sefira. After Lag BaOmer, if someone makes a chasna and you're still holding Sefira, are you allowed to go? The answer is yes, you're allowed to go. But now again, the Rav gives a heter, he gives you the finger, what do? You want the ganze hand. Say, Rav, could I get a haircut for the chasana? What do you mean get a haircut for the chasna? Says Moshe Feinstein, he's not sure. Maybe you could get a haircut cover the chasna. Oh, so. Says Moshe Feinstein, maybe, no, it's not the same with David Cohen, by the way. Not the same with David Cohen, but it's different than the inner of Moshe. Says Rav Moshe Feinstein, excuse me, that he's not sure. Says Rav Moshe, if you're not going to go to the chasna because you look like a hairy wolf, not his words exactly, but if you're in a mistaber, it's bayesh, and you're not going to go, Rav Moshe is a mekel to let you shave and get a haircut to go to the chasna. On the bottom, they ask, 1 second, we find by bris milah, there's no such thing. We find by a bris, it's the father, the male, the sandik, the zaydas, and that's all. So he explains very nicely that going to a mitzvah, it's something important to realize. You get a mitzvah for going to the chasana. You're not just going because the food is good. I mean, you might, but you're supposed to be going because it's a mitzvah. You also have to be misamech l'chaser v'kal. Oh, I forgot to say mazel tov. Like, what were you doing? It was cheaper than going out to eat, so I took my wife to the chasana. If you go and you're misameach l'chasen v'kala, it's a mitzvah. The mitzvah is the heter to go. So if the only way you're going to be able to fulfill this mitzvah is by going and taking a haircut beforehand, he's willing to be megal. I guess one has to be honest. Often it might depend on the crowd, might depend on how one looks in his unkempt state, etc., etc. But there is an interesting kula which one should know about. Now, we're going to end with this one. You always have to, want to end with something a little controversial. Everyone knows, I think, you hold which half of Sefira, and that's it. What is included in which half of Sefira? We're all or nothing type of people. Music, haircuts, the whole 9 yards. Well, the Mishnah Berurah seems to disagree, because the Mishnah Berurah says, for haircuts, I agree with you, but says the Shartzia, and he's not sure. A Safi the Pri Megadim, if the half of Sefira you're not holding, are you allowed to listen to music? Are you allowed to dance? The Pri Megadim is Mesopik. And the Mishnah Berurah says, he's not sure, and he ends off as like a suffix almost, it's Shartzian. So what's the Maisa? Comes in Rosh Zalman Arbach. You always hope, okay, Rosh Zalman's going to save the day. What does Rosh Zalman say? Aser Shekina Minog. So, important. In Yerushalayim, it is the Minog. Shekina Minog. You go into the stores in Yerushalayim, there is no music on both halves of Sefira. It's real. Comes the Rav Elyashiv. So the weddings is also an interesting thing, which we're not going to have time to talk about now. Yes, they're also machmer weddings. They got to ask Rav David Feinstein if that's a chumrah that we should be holding like, and he actually said yes. I don't know if in America people actually listen, but he writes only the beginning of Sefira before Rosh Chodesh you should make weddings. He says after Lag Baimer you should not. That was the old minhag back in Europe. I don't know if people really do this, but that's what he writes. Rav Elyashiv comes along and he says it's aser. Music is aser. Rav Shevet Alevi says music is aser, all based on this Mishnah Berurah. Question is, what's going on? None of us knew this. So Rav Felder comes along and he says, maybe. We're all makel. He says, maybe it's a tziruf of the fact that the music we're all listening to is recorded. So maybe recorded music on the suffix, maybe that's where the minhag came from. On the bottom, he forgives himself for giving such a teretz. And he says, I don't really like it. And he says, I think it's a mistake that people think because haircuts is mutter, therefore music is mutter. But one thing is for sure, and this, I believe, is a mistake people certainly make. Live music certainly should not be done on either half of Sefira. The heter is only haircuts, shaving, because one is unkempt, he can't handle it, so we take the 33 days for that, for the ikr minhagi avelus. But when it comes to music, it would seem that one should try to be machmer, I guess that's the answer. I know there is a minhag. Rav Felder does say there is noyig in the hakel. He doesn't love it, but he agrees that it does exist. And we'll just conclude that when it comes to haircuts and shaving, it's for men and not for women. Women in general, when it comes to body hair and whatnot, the minhag is lekula, even for single girls. They were never makabel upon themselves the isser. And everyone wants to know, what about cutting a sheitel? Well, the answer is, can you hem your pants? I know it sounds funny. The answer is, well, yeah, why? Because I can't take haircuts, why can't I cut my pants? So as much as a sheitel might look, smell, and taste like hair, and I hope it is, But at the end of the day, it's not hair. It's a garment. And therefore, a sheitel would, yes, allowed to be cut and styled during Svira. For the real Haisa Hasidim, they do mamish absharon on the yom of the third year. The different yatziv is mekel. You could give an absharon. Most people don't do it. The minig is not. For kids in general, you really could give them haircuts because they don't have avelos. But again, the minig is not to. Hatzlacha ubracha.